Hey y'all, it's Kathleen coming at you from Columbus, Ohio on Monday morning, June 17th. I can't believe it's June 17th already. This month is going. Alright, so today I'm going to talk to y'all about I neglected to do the video. I did the hangout session, but I forgot to do the video, so that's what I'm doing for you today. It was on self-forgiveness on Thursday night. Um, and we'll start by talking about why forgiveness for yourself is so important. If you carry around unforgiveness, you're carrying around a big weight. If you can't forgive somebody, then that's going to give you a big weight. And if you can't forgive yourself, I think it's an even bigger weight. Forgiving yourself can be much harder than forgiving somebody else, though. When you're carrying around a sense of blame for something that has happened in the past, this bundle of negativity is burrowing deep inside of you, and it can cause a never ending, pervasive sense of unhappiness. Nobody wants to be unhappy, everybody wants to be happy. So, forgiving yourself is important. It's an act of moving forward and releasing yourself from the past. It's also a way of protecting your health and general well being. Because how can you feel good if you're full of distress and animosity and bad negative feelings that unforgiveness breeds? And trust me, it breeds a lot of that. So it begs the question, how do I forgive myself? Well, living in a state of unforgiveness can create many things. It requires a lot of energy. It takes a lot of energy to be mad at somebody. It really does. It takes a lot of energy for you to decide, okay, I'm not going to forgive them. And every time you see them or think a happy thought about them, you say, oh, heck no, I ain't going to like them because I'm mad at them and I don't want to forgive them. So just think about how you feel when you have a grudge or when you're in an unforgiving state towards somebody else, and that nasty churning feeling that you get when they're around. Think about that. And then think about what it does to you when you cannot forgive yourself. That ugly churning nasty feeling is always with you. It never goes away. At least when you're angry and unforgiving towards somebody else, when you're with them, you feel that, and you feel like, oh no, I'm gonna be nice to them. I gotta smile and pretend everything's okay. Right now I can't stand them. I just want to slap them upside the head. I just want to give them a big old pillow of puff. No, you feel horrible when you're around somebody that you feel unforgiveness for. So imagine how it is to have to live with yourself in a state of unforgiveness. Um, you're constantly putting yourself down. You're in a constant state of hurt, sadness, and blame, shame, embarrassment, even. You're always to yourself, why do you do this? Why can't you do better? What's the matter with you? Constantly beating yourself in the head. It's a terrible thing to carry around. Um, it produces negative energy. Oh my lord, does it produce negative energy? When you go into a room, let's say your brother and your sister are feuding, and you have an event like we had yesterday, Father's Day, and everybody has to gather for Father's Day, but the brother and the sister, are feuding. When the brother's there, everything's okay. But the minute the sister shows up, ooh, back up, back up. You can feel the bad vibrations. You can feel the bad feelings. Oh, Lord Jesus. It's hard to be in a situation like that. Well, imagine how it feels with yourself as you go through that negative energy, the bad vibes that are constantly welling up and springing over and just pickling you in the juices of self-hatred. It's a terrible thing. It's a never-ending, pervasive sense of unhappiness. What do people tell you when you ask them, "What do you want?" They always say, "Oh, I just want to be happy." How can you be happy when you are plagued with this kind of a dilemma? And the dilemma I'm talking about is the dilemma of self hatred and the dilemma of unforgiving yourself. And trust me, if you don't forgive yourself, then you're living in some kind of self hatred. Um, oh, and big important point. If you cannot forgive yourself and you're living in all of the above, then it's going to affect your health eventually. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, you betcha. Acid reflux, yeah. Things like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's disease, um, stuff like that with your digestive system. Oh, oh. Um, I can't think of the word, but there's a lot of diseases in the stomach that are caused by stress. There is also the things, the pains in the joints and the pain in the heart. Hey, listen, people may be able to glide past it, but sooner or later you keep getting that pain, that people cause you who have hurt you, and sooner or later it's going to affect your heart. It's going to affect your circulation system. It's going to affect you, period. And so living in unforgiveness, especially if you cannot forgive yourself because you're in that constant state, and it is a difficult thing to live with. Now, have you ever been in a situation where you were asked to forgive and you did it belligerently and you said, "All right, I'm going to forgive, but I ain't never going to forget"? It's impossible to forget, honey, unless you got a lobotomy happening, unless you got somebody, with a batted back. We're gonna knock this right out of your head. Bang. I remember when I first went to my mother about a situation that was happening to me in my childhood, um, that I had to go through when I was older. Um, and I remember going to her and telling her, "You knew what my brother was doing to me. Why didn't you stop it?" And what she said was just, it will never leave me because it just absolutely floored me. She said, "You have got to ask Jesus to heal your memories and help you forget. You have got to ask him to take these thoughts away from you so that you never remember them again." And I thought, is she crazy? It took me 32 years to finally let myself remember him and feel the pain of what he put me through. And now she's telling me to ask Jesus to bury him again? I don't think so. You don't forget. You can forgive because forgiving is a choice that you make. You forgive people because you want to get rid of the bad feelings and the resentment and the self-inflicted berating that comes with it, and remembering it and living it over and over and over again. You don't want that anymore. You want it to stop. So you make a big quality decision to end it. You tell yourself, "I am not going to remember, I'm not going to put myself through this anymore. Every time I think about it, I'm going to try and put it out of my head, and I'm going to cover it with forgiveness. And I'm going to forgive it happened, realize that people are human beings and they make mistakes, And then I'm going to walk away. I'm going to walk away from it and move on and get past it so that I can go on with my life. That's what forgiveness is. You don't forget. And in many situations, you don't want to forget, honey, because if you forget, then you'll walk right back into a trap again and you'll get hurt again. And then you'll be having to try to forgive and forget all over again. So we learn lessons when things happen. We make mistakes. We learn from our mistakes. We learn from our failures. We learn from these things and realizing that we're human and we forgive. We choose to forgive, but we learn from the situation and then we move on. Emotions are a natural part of us. A lot of times people run from emotions. They don't like to remember. They don't like to feel fear. They don't like to feel anguish. They don't like to feel the pain that emotions bring to them. But let's face it, we're all human. And emotions are a part of human nature. And sooner or later, we're going to have to face emotions whether we want to or not. So accept the fact that you're human and that you have these emotions and that you have to deal with them. You know what? You know why a lot of people run to food? You know why a lot of people run to drugs? You know why a lot of people run to alcohol? You know why a lot of people run to gambling and shopping and whatever other habits that they have? It's because they're trying to forget. It's because they're trying to numb themselves out. It's because they are faced with a situation, faced with an emotion, faced with a pain that they don't want to look at, that they don't want to sense, that they don't want to go through. So what do? They grab the food, they grab the alcohol, they grab the drugs, they go out and gamble so that they can get that high. Whatever they choose to do, they do it because they're trying to escape. When you feel emotions you don't want to feel, you try to run from them so that you don't have to go through the agony that they create in you. This is wrong, people. Sooner or later, we're going to have to face the emotions, so you may as well get it done. You may as well just sit down and say, what is wrong with me? Why am I feeling this way? What's going on? Why am I hurting like this? What's happening to me? And when you get to that part of you where you realize what's going on and what's creating the problem, and you finally lasso that emotion, pull it in, and like the cowboys do when they wrap the rope around that poor little cow, and then they lift their arms up. That's what you do with your emotion. You reel it in, you tie it up, and then you sit down and you look at it and you say, I'm gonna deal with you. I'm gonna get through this, and I'm gonna try and understand why I keep doing this to myself. Why this emotion is scaring me so much, and why what this emotion, what stirs, what is it in me that stirs this emotion, and then start trying to figure it out. Instead of running to the food, instead of running to the pizza, instead of running to the drugs or the alcohol, face it and then deal with it and then make a plan. Just not do it again. It takes a lot of time. It really does. I've learned that. Lord knows I've learned that. Today, forget your past. Forgive yourself. And then begin again. If you can't do that, we got a problem. You're going to have to, well, you can't forget your past, but you know what I'm saying. Get past it. Move on, honey. You got a lot more living to do. Oh, now here's my favorite point for some folks because, we don't always like to admit that we're perfectionists, but some of us are. And we see a problem in our lives and we say, oh, did I do that? Oh, no. Oh, that is just not acceptable. That is just something that I will not tolerate. Whack, whack, whack. Punish, punish, punish. And you know what I'm saying? You bang yourself around because of things that you do to you really can't help because you're human, remember? You're human and you're going to make mistakes. So instead of popping yourself around and saying, oh no, I'll forgive him or her because, well, they're human. But me, oh no, no, no. I'm better than that. Listen, cut yourself some slack and realize you're human, just like the rest of us. And then realize you make mistakes and you're going to have to forgive yourself for it and move on. You can't move on, darling, till you forgive yourself. Real important. Now let's talk about self-loathing and self-hatred. Huh. Just like I told you, not forgiving yourself will create a lot of this. We don't like it, we don't need it, we don't have to have it. But we can't help ourselves sometimes, and we just create a situation where there's nothing but self loathing and self hatred, and that equals unforgiveness. We're not going to forget or condone what was done. We're going to learn from it. We're not going to say, oh, it's okay, I forgive you. Oh, I know you didn't mean it. Oh, it's okay. I realized that you were right and I was wrong. Oh, bull donkey. You're not doing that. You're just saying, I made a mistake and I'm fixing it and I'm going to forgive myself for the mistake and I'm moving on. That's what you're doing. And that's what you have to do. You don't forget, it's an act of mindfulness where you continue to remember, but you choose to move forward with your life. And you cannot do that if you're in a state of unforgiveness. Unforgiveness is a terrible thing, people, especially when we strap it to our backs. I'm trying to keep into my time. Forget your past, forgive yourself, and begin again. Let me say that again. Forget your past. Well, you know what I mean. Leave it back there. Forgive yourself and begin again. Life is about beginnings. Sometimes something ends, but when that thing ends, it doesn't mean it is over for you. It just means that that thing is over. And if it's something that caused unforgiveness and pain, it's a good thing to let it go. And it's a good thing to move on. That's just a little more Kathleen's wisdom. Hope you can get something from it.